Hello, and you're all very welcome along to the latest Champ.ie podcast, Ireland's premier horse racing podcast in association with Boyle Sports, Gorham Park, EJ Menswear, Shamrock Thoroughbreds, Midland Travel and McCafferty's traditional Irish bars.
They're coming to the final fence and the 25 Govs tie yesterday. Nick Rocket lands in the lead from Velvet Elvis, gone well clear. Up Favori to Shundu and Bushman's past, they're well strung out. Nick Rocket on the stand side for win number 10 in the race for Willie Mullins.
Enter our Champ.ie headline competition in association with Midland Travel, where you could win a trip for two to the Cheltenham Festival 2026. For a chance to win, simply subscribe to the Champ.ie podcast on YouTube if you haven't already, and scan the QR code to enter your competition details today. We look forward to discussing your weekly #Fivecast selections in the comment section below. Hello, and you're all very welcome along to Season 7, Episode 8 of the Champ.ie Horse Racing Podcast in association with Gorham Park, Boyle Sports, EJ Menswear, Shamrock Thoroughbreds, McCafferty's Irish Bar and Midland Travel. Let's take a look at what's coming up on this week's show for you. As always, we kick it off with the Irish Spotlight. We'll be putting in selections for the Fivecast this week, and we want, as always, you to put in your Fivecast selections. We've got a brilliant guest this week in Nicky Henderson, who's got, of course, Constitution Hill and the Fighting Fifth on Saturday. We'll be hearing, of course, from Stephen Thorne of Shamrock Thoroughbreds, and we'll be looking ahead to the weekend best bets. The 5 races this week that we'll look at on the show: the long distance hurdle, the grade 2 on Friday at Newbury. We look at the Fighting Fifth at Newcastle on Saturday. We look at the Jerry Fielden hurdle, Premier Handicap, 2:15 on Saturday. And of course, the big Gold Cup Premier Handicap, that's at Newbury, 2:55 Saturday, as well as a listed hurdle at Fairyhouse at 3:11. Well, as mentioned, our very special guest this week is Nicky Henderson.
Possibly not, but I think he'll be a lot sharper for that. That was a mess of a race. They took half the fences out.
Yes, more to come from Nicky Henderson later on in the show. But before we get into the thick of the show, let's give you the chance on how you can win a trip to Cheltenham next March.
To begin with the chance of winning an all-inclusive trip for two to the 2026 Cheltenham Festival in association with Midland Travel, Ireland's leading horse racing travel specialist. Simply subscribe to Champ.ie on YouTube if you haven't already, and scan the QR code on screen and answer the following question. Who won the 2025 Cheltenham Gold Cup? Was it 1, Galopin de Champ, 2, I Know the Way You're Thinking, or 3, Marine Nationale? Register your competition details today, including your YouTube username. Don't forget, you must subscribe to Champ.ie on YouTube to qualify. The competition winner will be announced on Thursday, the 12th of February. Best of luck and be lucky.
Yes, welcome back, and a big thank you to all who've entered the competition so far. But still, Barry, long way to go before we'll close the lines, as they say, on the trip to Cheltenham prize next year.
Absolutely, Dave. Fantastic interest thus far in the competition. Big thank you to Stephen and all the team at Midland Travel as well for putting forward such a fantastic prize. And of course, if you are watching this on a phone device, Dave, and you haven't entered already, you won't be scanning the QR code in the top left, but you can click the link in the podcast description. We're really in the thick of the National Hunt season now, Dave. And it was great to catch up with Conor O'Dwyer as well, champion hurdle and Gold Cup winning jockey on Monday's show. For anyone who hasn't checked it out, heads over to the YouTube channel and or click the YouTube channel, and you will see the latest Road to Cheltenham show. But really in the thick of it now, Dave, and as well, Fivecast prizes, the draw, the 20th of December, breakfast with the Shark, €150 shopping voucher from McDonagh Shopping Centre in Kilkenny, an Irish Field subscription as well, a 12-month online subscription up for grabs, and a race and stay package to Dundalk on a Friday night as well for two at the Fairways Hotel as well in Dundalk. Beautiful hotel, Dave. Day 2 of the wedding there.
Brilliant, yes, and it's a super spot, and looking forward to be giving away those prizes in the coming weeks. Right, let's kick off our show, and we kick it off every week with the Irish Spotlight. And Barry, to kick us off this weekend, we've got some big headline entries for this weekend's racing. Starting off, I suppose, no more so than with Romeo Coolio.
Yeah, Romeo Coolio, Dave, obviously entered up in the Drinmore. It's kind of Gordon Elliott's race, isn't it? He's won it 6 times in the last 10 years. Mighty Potter, Envoy Allen, some really smart horses have won this race in the past. And obviously Romeo Coolio, I think he'll take all the beating in the Drinmore. I think At this moment in time, look, Old Man Dingle is interesting, but would they have their eyes maybe on something like a Jack Richards at the Cheltenham Festival or handicaps in the spring? I think Romeo Coolio, based on his hurdles form, the form linked in obviously with Copic de Boer, he came out and won over fences. Salvador Mundi as well, he went on to win at Aintree. So that form, looks quite strong from the Supreme. I think the Supreme will work out a strong race. 150 over hurdles. I'd be disappointed, Dave, if you didn't reach a rating of somewhere in the mid-60s over fences. I thought he jumped beautiful on his first start at Down Royal. He won a bumper, of course, at Fairyhouse in the past, so he has a bit of course form. And his point win was on soft ground as well. Just an update on the ground, Dave, just around the grounds as well, because some of the meetings we're going to be looking at 12 mil due before Sunday evening at Fairyhouse, but the ground is currently soft. So expect the ground to be soft and proper national hunt conditions at Fairyhouse. Newcastle across the seas 6 mil due before Saturday evening, and Newbury 12 mil due before or during racing, should I say, on Saturday. I think the better ground at Newbury will certainly be on Friday. But Romeo Coolio on the Drinmore, I think he'll take all the beating. And the Hatton's Grace, Dave, Tiupu and Ballyburn. What a clash this could be on Sunday afternoon. A proper Grade 1 over 2.5 miles on what's likely to be soft ground at Fairyhouse. Tiupu will have his ground conditions. He's best fresh as well. But I just cannot get away from Ballyburn. I mean, I watched back the replay of his Turner's win over hurdles over 2.5 miles at Cheltenham, and he beat Jimmy Desai, and that form has obviously worked out well with him winning the Carl Cup last season for Willie Mullins, but he beat him by 12 lengths on the bridle in a Turner's. So Tupe was a 5-time Grade 1 winner. Ballyburn's a 4-time Grade 1 winner over hurdles. I think you have to draw a line through last year in terms of his campaign over fences. It just didn't go to plan, and he didn't look a natural jumper. But 6-4 just jumps out to me on Ballyburn this weekend. Looking forward to seeing that clash, and hopefully we get it, Dave. Obviously, we're speaking before Dex, but of the two, I think Tiupu, it's hard to believe, Dave. You think he's older than he is. He's only 8 years of age, 12 wins from 19 in his career. But one thing that struck me when speaking to Gordon Elliott doing the stable tour with Davy Boland earlier on in the season, he did say to me about Tiupu. I asked him about the Gallamay hurdle on Tiesta's day. He's won that race in the past. Would that be an option? The plan was to go to Ascot, but he did say that at this stage in his career, 2.5 miles is probably plenty short for him. Whereas Ballyburn, I don't think you're going to have that issue. And there's just 2 pounds between them on official ratings. I think Ballyburn can improve back over hurdles.
Yeah, well, it'll be some race, won't it, to look forward to this weekend. Barry, looking at the handicaps, plenty of them this week. Have you, I know you're a great man to pick out for a horse or two in those. Give us your selection for a handicap this weekend in Ireland.
Yeah, handicap horse this week in Ireland, Dave. Attaboy Charlie. He's currently priced up at odds of 12-1, and he's rated 127 over hurdles. Like this run at Galway over a trip, plenty far for him, 2 miles 6. He was only beaten a length, shaped well. Behind Sport in the Park of Noel Meads. That you'd have to think will put him spot on for this. Eddie Cawley likes to target one. This is a strong travelling horse. I mean, don't forget at Leopardstown, he won over 2 miles, that novice handicap on St. Stephen's Day. I think it was, back in 2023, was campaigned over fences last season, back over hurdles here into a handicap second run of the season. He did make appeal, Dave, with just 10 stone 7 on his back. So, Attaboy Charlie for me, 12-1, and that listed handicap hurdle is one I like the look of on Sunday at Fairyhouse.
Right, well, we're going to head into our first break, and right after that, we'll be looking at the first 3 of this week's Fivecast races.
McCafferty's traditional Irish bars are located across Ireland, the UK, Spain and the United Arab Emirates. McCafferty's bars provide the perfect backdrop and atmosphere to watch all horse racing and sports events, serving traditional Irish food and music played 7 days a week. Come to McCafferty's for the crack and stay for the experience. Check out mcCafferty'sbars.com.
Yes, welcome back to the Champ.ie horse racing podcast. And again, we're delighted with all your comments each and every week to the podcast. And please do keep them coming. Right, we're going to look at the first 3 of this week's Fivecast races. And the first race we look at, Barry, is, of course, the long distance hurdle. And, of course, the man that you'll be going having breakfast with down at some point, the Shark Hanlon. He sends across Hewick across the Irish Sea this weekend for the big race on Friday.
Looking at the shape of the race, Dave, the long distance hurdle, I do like the look of Impost Trois. for Nicky Henderson. Now, we'll hear him later on in the show, Dave. This horse still unexposed over 3 miles, won a Pretemps qualifier at Aintree in very impressive fashion last time. Now, he's achieved a rating of 153, and I think he's full value for that rating, and he could still improve past it. Very consistent, obviously ran a big race in the Pretemps last year, Cheltenham, Aintree, Punchestown. He was at all the festivals and ran with great credit without actually winning. But the fact that he gets weight here from a strong leader, I think he's £3 better off. Race conditions really do suit him. Nicky and JP won this race with Champ back in 2022. Likes to target this meet in Newbury, as we know. Nicky Henderson, he's 4-1. I just thought he made appeal because, look, honesty policy, if he does show up, will be having his first run of the season. Strong leader, as mentioned, wasn't blown away by him in the West Yorkshire Hurdle. I'm getting weight in post unexposed over 3 miles. He could stamp. He could lay down a bit of a marker here in this division across the water.
Yes, well, the second race we look at, we might have had one of the best John Durkin finishes in quite some time last weekend. Can we have the same finish in the Fighting Fifth Hurdle this week? Because it mightn't have a big entry, but we could have some clues to champion hurdle markets come the end of this race on Saturday, Bess.
Has to be all about Constitution Hill, doesn't it, Dave? I'd say you're surprised I've said that one. But I just think if you look at his runs, Dave, all his best performances have been when he's been fresh. He won this so impressively back in 22 up in Newcastle, where he made on. And there's no obvious pace in the race as well. That's something I wanted to highlight, Dave. Anzadam, the new lion, they've been held up in the races. And I just wonder, similar to the Fighting Fifth in 2022, would Nico de Boinville take the bull by the horns and attack hurdles with Constitution Hill? The reports are that he's well, he's schooled well, and hopefully the eye is in this time, Dave, because he had a couple of bad falls, obviously, last season, and very disappointing at Punchestown. He just didn't want to know about it. But what about Anzadam? I mean, he's a horse, Dave, rated 157. Is that really a true rating? He's had 2 runs for Willie Mullins, small fields in Ireland, getting weight. Was he off Beacon Edge, who's rated 145, 11 years of age? He beaten by 11 lengths. I mean, he'd be entitled to beat Beacon Edge, wouldn't he? If he was going to be a champion hurdle horse. The new lion, the form, obviously, of the Turners. I think they're 3 very good horses, but I think he beat 2 staying chases over 2.5 miles. So stepping back and trip is going to be a question mark there for me. And it's about Constitution Hill for me. 6-4, Dave. If he runs anything close to his rating here, first time up fresh this season, I think he'll take a bit of beating.
I think you're right, and I think also that 6-4, if it comes race time around 2:10 on Saturday afternoon, and you said how the Constitution Hill go off 6-4, possibility it can happen, but it's a cracking race, and good luck to you out there with whichever one of the 5 you choose to pick for the Fighting Fifth on Saturday. Right, let's move on to the third race of the weekend then that we're going to look at. That, of course, is the Jerry Fielding Hurdle. It's a big Premier handicap, and that's at 2:15 this Saturday at Newbury, Barry.
Yeah, there's one that jumps off the page to me here in this one, Dave, and it's trained by Ollie Murphy. A horse called Endeavour Blue is one that I want to mention here. He's a decent price. It's 11-2. There's been early support for him, which is encouraging. But off a rating of 126, I thought he could be nicely treated. Sean Bowen on board. Ollie's had 9 winners in the last fortnight. He was an ultra impressive winner at Wetherby. He travels very strongly in his races, Dave. So 2 miles here with a decent sized field and a good pace to aim at, I think is going to suit this Endeavour Blue. He's 7 years of age with just 5 starts in his career. Proven on soft ground. The best of the ground is going to be on Friday. The rain is coming on Saturday, so that's going to suit. And he's less than 11 stone. 11-2 makes appeal. This horse is having his second run in a handicap, Dave, should I say, and second run back after wind surgery. Vianney's interesting. We saw him do a nice piece of work at Newbury, of course, recently, but I just wonder would he want further in time than 2 miles. Ollie Murphy's horse for me, Endeavour Blue. Decent price, 11-2 for me.
Yeah, nice each-way price at that. Right, we're going to head into our next ad break, and we'll come back to look at the big Premier handicap at Newbury, 2:55, and the listed handicap hurdle at Fairyhouse on Sunday at 3:11.
Thanks, folks. It's going to be a Baltic winter, and our winter wonder is back here at EJ Menswear and ejmenswear.com. €279 for 5 pieces all in, including your wool coat. We've an unbelievable selection in this. Start off with your coat, build that. Choose a top from a quarter zip knit from Ted Smith, any of our shirts, hundreds and hundreds of different combinations we can put together here. I've gone all black with the charcoal grey coat. Everything included in this, your coat, your quarter zip, or your shirt or your top, your bottoms. We even throw in the free scarf and socks. €279. It's a saving of over €200. The colours in the coats are class. You've got your camel there at the front. You've got your French navy. You've the black and you've the charcoal that I'm wearing here. A saving of over €200. The Winter Wonder bundle is live now on the website, EJ Menswear, and in store in Grattan Street in Sligo.
Yes, and of course we had a fantastic day, Barry, out in down at EJ Menswear last Monday.
Yeah, Dave, you treated me to the lunch and a couple of pints as well. So I was delighted coming out with bags out of EJ's, the Christmas shopping done, a couple of pints of stout, Dave. And it's a roll on this weekend on the racing front. Big weekend, obviously, for EJ and the team down with Black Friday, of course. So, yeah, that extra 5% comes in handy, and great to hear the viewers, Dave, are availing.
Absolutely right. Let's move on then, because we look at a big Premier Handicap now at Newbury. It's race 4 of the Fivecast selections this week. That big Premier Handicap at Newbury on Saturday, Barry.
Yeah, certainly is, Dave. And some fantastic winners of this over the years. Denman, of course, Paul Nichols. And the man Paul Nichols has Inchhouse in here, who jumped off the page for me, Dave, for last year's winning owner, Michael Gagan. Had his third run for Paul Nichols at Cheltenham back in October. And he's some Newbury form, this Inchhouse. I remember him seeing him win at Newbury back in 2023 off a mark of 130. He's just a pound higher here. And he's reasonably likely race as well in Chouse. Like this run in Cheltenham, like this comeback effort. He hadn't raced, I think, for over 300 days at Cheltenham. And seemed to enjoy himself, was up there in the van, jumped particularly well on that occasion. And just looking at his rating here, off 131, he could be nicely treated, Dave, right down the bottom of the weights for a man who has a real decent record in the race. The Dying Chief is interesting as well for Alan King. Just wonder, will the ground be gone against him in the big feature? And the Blizzard of Odds as well for Willie Mullins, one of 2 runners potentially heading over from Close Sutton. Total Recall, of course, won this race in the past for Willie Mullins. And the Slaneyville Syndicate as well, Lara Byrne and all the guys, John Byrne, owners of Lecky Watson. Blizzard of Odds, of the Mullins too, he's of interest, ran a good race in Punchestown, and there could be more to come from him off his mark. Will be Daryl Jacob on the Road to Cheltenham show last season. He did mention there's a big handicap in this horse. He's unexposed beyond 3 miles, and he's of interest as well at 10-1. But the main selection, Inchhouse, Dave, in a race I absolutely love. And I remember back in the winner, I think it was the Rasher Counter 5 or 6 years ago at this stage.
Yes, well, of course, this weekend at Fairyhouse, Barry, it's a tremendous weekend of racing action, and wish all the team a very, very good weekend there. We're going to look at our final race of the 5, and that, of course, is the listed handicap hurdle. This looks like going to be a very good race on Sunday. This due off at 3:11.
Yeah, we've the Boodles winner in there. JP McManus, of course, likes to target this particular race at Fairyhouse as well. But we've actually already mentioned what I think could be the likely winner of the race. Definitely it's double figures. Attaboy Charlie. I think he could be targeted at the race back to 2 miles from 2 miles 6. Really good run at Galway, of course, on its comeback over 2 miles 6. And he did win that 2 mile novice handicap at Leopardstown at Christmas a couple of seasons ago. As mentioned, he was campaigned over fences last season, ran a couple of beginners. I think he's had a run in Handicap Chase Company as well, but just 10 stone 7 for a local trainer, Eddie Cawley. He makes appeal, Dave, at each way at odds of 12-1. So Attaboy Charlie of 127, I think could be on a nice mark.
Yeah, and as I said, it's a really, really great weekend to look forward to at Fairyhouse. Well, it's time for us now to hear from our very, very special guest this weekend. And of course, we caught up with Nicky Henderson.
Yes, and Newbury on the horizon. Delighted to welcome back to the Champ.ie podcast, Nicky Henderson. Nicky, stable flying ahead of Newbury. It's the big local meeting for you, and Constitution Hill returns in the fighting fifth. You must be all set.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy weekend. It always is down here because of Newbury and because it's probably one of their biggest days of the year. Unfortunately, it also always clashes with the fighting fifth, which, to be fair, over the years, we've been lucky enough to have the horses for the fighting fifth, but unfortunately, it does clash. And it obviously means one thing, and it was actually the case all through the years of Binocular and Bouvedere and Epitante. We were all JP's horses, and AP was therefore actually virtually never over that period rode at Newbury or rode in what is now the Coral, because he was always at Newcastle.
Is Constitution Hill back to himself, do you think? What sort of shape is he ahead of the weekend?
Well, we're happy where we are. Whether he's back to what, I absolutely no idea. But I mean, he's been in very good shape. His work's been excellent, and it's always been the plan. It was the plan last year, and we didn't get him there. Whereas at the moment, hopefully, if the next few days go according to the script, then we should be in Newcastle on Saturday.
We got the new lion in there as well, and obviously, just listening to Patrick Mullins on Racing TV a couple of moments ago, he's saying that the plan is very much still for Amsterdam to head over. So, a big challenge. How do you assess the challenge?
I think it's a very strong one. It's sometimes it isn't the strongest Grade 1 of the year, but this time I think it's definitely. They're probably thinking, well, quite rightly, I'm sure, that Constitution Hill is now slightly vulnerable rather than avoidable, in which case they're going to take him on, and one has to respect both horses enormously. It was extraordinary when the entries came out. There was only 4 of them. There has been one supplemented since then. These sort of races with 4 or 5 runners tend to get. I did even discuss with Nico the fact whether we should supplement a pacemaker, but that's not the case. We certainly haven't, and we didn't think about it for very long either. So I suspect there's a possibility that there mightn't be a great pace on there, but we'll see. No doubt somebody will make it. I mean, whether it's us or anybody else, I have no idea.
Nicky, Django Bay, brilliant last weekend. Is he now a Gold Cup contender in your eyes?
Well, he's going to be a King George contender for the time being. And then that'll tell us a bit more about him. And it'll be his first try at 3 miles. 3 miles around Kempton and 3 1/4 around Cheltenham are 2 different things, as everybody knows. So it'll give us a clue. I mean, I can't say I'm worried about stamina around Kempton, but maybe that's will be my excuse on Boxing Night. Would he? I don't know. That it'll tell us where to go. I mean, looking at him when he was at Ascot, you'd say he's just as likely to be a Ryanair horse as he is a Gold Cup horse. But there's a lot of things that are going to happen between now and then, to us, to him, and and a lot of other horses as well. It's a very long way away.
Were you surprised how well he won though on season reappearance, or how ready was he?
Well, he must have been pretty ready. I think we were fairly confident that if you want to come into a race like this, you've got to be. I had a few scares during the week with a couple of horses that didn't do what I thought they'd do, and I was worried they were needing the race, but that didn't turn out to be the case, and it certainly wasn't with Django Bay, no.
Lolamba made a good start over fences at Exeter. Do you think he jumps like a 2-miler for you?
Possibly not, but I think he'd be a lot sharper for that. That was a mess of a race. They took half the fences out, so he didn't have to do very much. He warmed up after the first 4, and then they went for 1 1/4 miles without jumping a fence, and then jumped another 3, which he jumped really well. He jumps like a 2-miler, yeah, and he's going to have to, because we'll go to Sandown, I hope, is the next plan for the Henry VIII, and which is only in 10 days' time. Well, it's a bit more. It's Saturday week. Does he jump like a 2-miler? Yeah, I don't see why not, to be honest with you. He's a very clean jumper. He's not. You could say some of those 2-milers are a bit. He might be in the air a little bit longer than some of them, but I would think with experience that'll be easily adjustable. Speaking
about the 2-milers, Sergino, John Bon. I suppose, first of all, how is Sergino? How's he progressing?
We're happy. We're slowly, well, not slowly, actually. He's coming to hand much quicker than I anticipated. We haven't given ourselves any firm plans, only because I didn't want to sort of be ever thinking about deadlines, and therefore we'll just drift in wherever it suits to drift in. Now, that's not easy, because there are very few 2-mile races for horses of that stature, and he is a genuine 2-miler. I mean, you might be saying that Lulamba doesn't jump fences like a 2-miler. Well, Sergino definitely does. and 2 miles is as far as he needs to go.
Let's run through a couple of the entries quickly for Newbury. Look, Active Innocence, a race you have a terrific record in. He's entered up in the maiden on Friday. You've won the race 6 times the last 10 years. Active Innocence, do you like what you see?
I do. Yeah, nice horse. He's lovely big. He started in a bumper at Punchestown. I remember seeing him there, but he wasn't with us to start with, but he's found his way here this season, and now he's a horse we like a lot. It looks a very competitive race. Sometimes it is, actually, and sometimes actually it's not the strongest maiden of the year, but it's historically it's probably a good race. Yeah, and it looks strong this year.
Does he remind you of the likes John Bon, Jenkins, Bouva there? They all won the race in the past for you.
Does he remind me of them? He's a big, scopy, chasing type of horse. Yeah, I certainly don't think he needs any more than 2 miles to start with, although I imagine he's going to get it in time.
Imposed Twat, 7 years of age, looks unexposed over 3 miles. And is the plan Friday against Strong Leader?
Yes, it is. I mean, we were sort of slightly pleasantly surprised by his performance at Aintree with top weighted a Pertemps qualifier. And he won rather impressively, and not surprisingly caught the handicapper's eye. He'd been very consistent throughout last year. He'd been to Cheltenham, Aintree, Punchestown, never won one, but he ran some terrific races, second in the Coral, placed every time placed, and he deserved to win a race there. But it's earned him a look at the 3 mile staying division, which, you know, some years is stronger than others. I don't say it's not strong this year, but we've got Doddy the Great in there as well, and he was he ran very well in that staying race at Wetherby behind Strong Leader. But they might both run, but at the moment Imposed Twat definitely does. Yeah.
Nicky, the big one is Saturday course, the Carl Gold Cup, what we used to call the Hennessy, and Highlands in there for yourself. Could he be nicely treated of 145?
I don't know. I mean, he was very consistent last year, and he ran some great races, winning and in defeat, actually. Is he well treated? I don't think he's well treated, no. But he's probably earned it, and we've got to live with it. There's no point in complete about it now. Yeah, the most important thing to him is the ground. He is a miles better horse on good ground than he is in soft. And at the moment, it is genuine good ground. There is some rain around, so we've got to pray at least that keeps off the chase course until Saturday. If it's good ground, I think he's coming off a good preparation and a run round Cheltenham as well, which should have put him. He needs plenty of work and plenty of racing, so I hope that will got him on the right way.
You must have been happy to see the Jukebox Man win last weekend. Obviously, he'd good form with him, beating 2 lengths in the Feltham last year, Kempton now.
Yeah, it is good form. I mean, I think the Feltham looked a strong race at the time. We weren't quite good enough to beat the Jukebox Man, but they were 2 good novices, and yeah, that sort of form holds it up well for him. Yeah, but he seems in good shape. I mean, as you know, Corals have done a great job taking on the mantle from all the previous sponsors. It's been the feature race of Newbury's calendar ever since the word go, and it's always a great race, but it's highly competitive, and you've got to have a lot of luck in running for the start. But hopefully I think he's in a good place, and the second season novices do have quite a good record in here. We did win it with Trebolgan, I remember, of quite a few years ago, and he was only just out of novice at the time. So Bobsworth was probably the same. Yeah, he was in his second season. So it does. I'm not saying this is another Bobsworth or Trebolgan, because he's not. But, he's a genuine contender, yeah.
Excello, super race in the Grand Sefton, loves Aintree, was going well on the Topham last year. Nicky, is it all roads to the Topham again for him?
Well, no, because we're going to go back even before that and probably have a look at the Beecher in a fortnight's time. That's the plan. I mean, it's quite a lot. It's 3 1/4 instead of 2.6. So That shouldn't be far out of his range. Yeah, he seems to enjoy Aintree and jumping those fences, so we thought we'd stick to there for him for the time being, and see what we do come the spring.
What about John Bon? Obviously, the Tingle Creek next weekend. Do you think he'll come on plenty for that run in Cheltenham?
I do. I think he'll come on, and if the ground can come on from that was horrible at Cheltenham on the Friday. And he's not the same horse in that, and especially first time out, it took it out of him. I mean, he's fine now. He's in good form, and he seems fresh and well. So, no, he will go to Sandown, and then I think we regroup. I mean, at some stage, I think, a little bit more than 2 miles might be on the agenda.
What else are we looking forward to then over the next 7 days or so? Obviously, Newbury, we've Doncaster, Newcastle. Anything else you're looking forward to running over the next week, Nicky, before we let you go?
Yeah, we've got some nice novices to start getting out. So I hope there's some. So you mentioned Act of Innocence there, and we had another one of the Halls yesterday that won nicely. So I hope there's some. There's a few more. We haven't run many of the novice hurdlers yet, so there's a bit to look forward to there, and with some novice chasers as well. So we're only really just sort of starting to open the door.
Finally, Nicky, before we let you go, Constitution Hill. Do you think he'll get the job done on Saturday?
I think he can. It's going to be very interesting, but we'd be happy with where we are. So whatever happens, yeah, he will improve for it. There's no doubt about that. But, we want to try and win this. It's vital. He won it 2 years ago. So Gino won it last year in Constitution Hill's absence. But we're back in everything's got to hold together. Everybody will be ready to criticize and digest his jumping, I'm sure. There'll be all sorts of theories and reasons, and everybody's got their own theories, but we're happy, and that's really all I can do. Nico's very pleased with him. Dan, who rides him every day, he's very happy. It's all systems go, hopefully. We've still got 3 days to go, and 3 days is a long time in any horse's life, let alone his.
Nicky, how's fellow Bagnallstown man Paddy Hanlon getting on over there with you in Lambert?
Yeah, he's in good form. Yeah, he's riding very well. I think he's actually got to ride for us on Thursday, and he rides Hewitt in the Stayers Hurdle on Friday at Newbury. It's coming over to stay with us on the way.
That'll be some celebration if Huey could get the job done. But you've other interests. Nicky, best of luck this weekend.
Celebration if he's staying here and he beats Impostoir.
You'll have the shark to contend with. Come here, Nicky. Thanks for coming on the show once again. Wish you the best of luck this weekend. And we hopefully could be serving up a cracker in that fighting fifth.
That would be nice. Thank you.
Now boarding the train of thought.
Calling out. Injury Lane, Statminster, Opinion Circus, Last Chance Cross, and Decision Time.
Back yourself. Boyle Sports.
Gorham Park Racecourse, the premier racetrack in the southeast of Ireland, is located on the outskirts of Kilkenny City. Known as the race that stops the county, the famous Goffs Thaestes Chase 2026 takes place on Thursday the 22nd of January. With packed crowds expected once again this January, you can book your early bird tickets online today. Visit gorhampark.ie online, click the link in the Champ.ie podcast video description, or scan the QR code on screen to purchase right now. Yes, you're very welcome back. And of course, a big shout out to Eddie and all the team as they'll be teeing up for the Goffs Thaestes Day in mid-January. Barry, let's firstly, before we take a look at this weekend's best bets, just have a quick recap on how things went last weekend.
Yeah, Mullaglass, decent winner on the show, 13-2, and obviously was well backed into joint favouritism. And a big shout out to Desi and all the Punchestown Friends Syndicate as well. Nice horse to have in their hands there, Mullaglass, for the Slatteries. And the horse that beat it at Galway has actually entered up this weekend at Fairyhouse in a rated hurdle. One to keep an eye on as well, I think, for Eric McNamara, but maybe Christmas at Limerick might be on the agenda there as well. Connections like to target that particular meeting. But L'Evangeliste is the horse, Dave. And it was a decent winner. Mullaglass and Django Bay, obviously, for Nicky Henderson. 4-1, backed into 9-4 favourite and got the job done as well, Dave. So I'm pretty sweet on him as well, Dave. Django Bay for the King George.
Okay, Barry, let's look at the best bets for this weekend.
Yeah, best bets. Look, keep it very simple, Dave. Clondalk Park for Harry Durham in the listed, of course, Mayor's Race. The fact that he's chucking her in there first time up tells you all you need to know. Very impressive winner of a point-to-point for the Goffs at Lisrona. And the point-to-point form, there's a little bit of substance to the form as well with Gavin Cromwell's runner, of course, going well at Navan, at the Navan Racing Festival. So she's smart. She's the best bet. Endeavour Blue jumps off the page. We've mentioned him already for Ollie Murphy off 126. Could be nicely handicapped on just the 6 start, second run in a handicap in the Jerry Field. And he's a best bet this weekend. And Grangeclare Park in the bumper, the Willie Elliott bumper at Fairyhouse. Could be a champion bumper horse. Came from the Bow Academy. Think he could be very smart. Saturday, the Willie Elliott bumper at Fairyhouse. Gordon loves the racing. Ballyburn, look at 6-4, Dave. I just can't get away from him against Tiupu. At this stage in Tiupu's career, I just think it's 2.5 miles, maybe a little bit short for him, and you have to draw a line through. I think Ballyburn's not just his last run, but his entire campaign last season over fences, back over hurdles. He's very, very interesting.
I think we'll see the best spec of Nicky Henderson's Constitution Hill, and absolutely 6-4 about Ballyburn. Can't put you off those 2 selections for this weekend. Right, we move on, and we're going to hear now from Stephen Thorne of Shamrock Thoroughbreds.
From Dundalk to Longchamp, from the Galway races to the Breeders' Cup, Shamrock Thoroughbreds recently celebrated their 100th winner, and Ireland's leading racehorse syndicate has taken owners all over the world. Shamrock Thoroughbreds founder Stephen Thorne remarkably won the Winter Trainers' Championship at Dundalk during his first season as a racehorse trainer. To experience success with Shamrock Thoroughbreds and Stephen Thorne Racing, check out shamrockthoroughbreds.com.
Steve, here with Take Heart. Obviously won a Class 2 handicap at Goodwood when trained by Johnny Murta. And you must be excited with him now.
Yeah, grand horse, Barry. We picked him up there in the autumn sale there, syndicating away at him now. He's a horse that had very good form. This horse won a 100 grand handicap at the Goodwood Festival back in 24 for Johnny, a little over a year and a half ago now, off a mark of 95. Peak rating this year starting off 99, but slipped right back down to 88. So he's a horse I think that is well handicapped now for the winter. He broke his maiden in Dundalk. So
bit of all-weather form.
Yeah, I think he's a nice, good ground horse, and I haven't been able to find too many of these middle distance horses. They can be a little bit expensive, but he came at the right money, and those 10 furlong handicaps up there, those feature races there, they can be a little bit on the weaker side. And I think a fresh horse back in the system, I think this horse will pay his way for the winter.
He looks fresh and well here, anyway.
Yeah, no, fine big strapping horse. Yeah. We're just getting him into the routine there. I think he's a horse that, he could end up in Newcastle maybe or something like that next on Good Friday next
Likely race for a 5-year-old too.
Yeah, I think he's only had 18 starts. He's had the 3 wins. I just think he's a horse with plenty of size that he'd be able to kick on with now in the winter time. And hopefully, if we get a little bit of confidence there through the winter months, we'll be able to maybe target a nice big handicap pot there next summer.
Just looking at Sir Les Patterson working here, all 3 wins have come on the all-weather. A recruit from Harry Hughes. He looks nice.
Yeah, fine smashing horse, Barry. We got him in July. Debut run for us was in the Bowlad Sprint there, and he didn't disappoint. He was 3rd. Cracking run on debut in a Premier Handicap Champions weekend. So I think he's a horse that'll fit the bill there next year in those Premier Handicap sprints. I think he's well weighted to win one of those next year. He has a split mark, so we're going to tie with the idea of Newcastle on Good Friday. He's obviously a 3-time winner on the poly track. We're a little unlucky the last night in Dundalk there. He was drawn wide. We had to drop in and didn't go overly quick either, but he stayed on well. I think a stiff 6, easy 7 is perfect for him. And I think the stiff 6 in Newcastle suit him perfectly as well. So we're ready to go next Wednesday, the 26th, not to 106. I'm hoping that he might be good enough there, and we'll give him a little break, one prep run then before Newcastle.
Steve, you mentioned 2-year-old success. This fella obviously won up in Dundalk, son of Sansa Mali, and seems an absolute gent.
Yeah, he's a cracking horse, Barry. We didn't think that beforehand. It was a big surprise. But
25 to 1, was he?
Yeah, it was a big price and a big surprise to us all. But massive heart. Jack gave him a lovely ride. We just said we'd drop the horse in, get him to teach him plenty, and he just took off up the straight. Photo finish, three-way photo finish. We weren't sure, but when they gave the number there, we were over the moon. Nice horse, obviously owned by our Saudi clients, Sam Sayel and his family. And yeah, look at it. We've had a few calls for him. Obviously, the international demand for these maiden winners, is quite high, and so we'll see if anything comes to fruition there, and if not, we'll roll forward. There's a nice winners race over 7 there in a couple of weeks' time, median auction winners race on the 3rd of December. So he'll have learned plenty from that run, and I think even under a penalty, I think he'll know his job the next day pretty well. So again, look at a nice horse with plenty of size, and he'll be an extra horse as well.
Word for Jack Carney on the day, because I thought he gave him a terrific ride, to be fair, and he'd played a big part obviously in the trainers' championship success last year.
Yeah, he's been a huge part of our team there. He comes in twice a week, rides all the work with Stephen. So when you have lads like that giving you feedback on these horses, it makes the job a lot simpler, and we can plan accordingly. So again, Jack has been a great success story in his own right. He was heading jumping because the weight was getting to him a little bit, but got his weight in order there and new diet, etc. And we loved having him around, and he gets on very well with the horses. Struck up a great relationship with a lot of those horses last winter, carried through into the turf, and to get a maiden winner first time out with him on his back, it's very special for us all.
What about this girl here in Newbury? Well, obviously we mentioned her form is working out quite nicely from her maidens, and bit of a setback, didn't she? But she returned with a good run at Dundalk there last week.
Yeah, obviously we had a bit of a setback in the spring after the last run there in the maiden in Leopardstown. She had a cracking run in the Curragh in that median auction. The Group 1 juvenile turf sprint winner was behind her that day. So she has some good form in the book. She was just ready to start the last night, and she may have just needed the run. Ran a little bit free and gassy for not unusual for one of mine first time out. I like to leave them with a little bit to find for the next day. So she's definitely one to look forward to for the winter. I'm hoping there'll be a couple of races to be won with her.
Would there be a nursery handicap before Christmas, perhaps?
Yeah, there's a race there, I think, on the 12th of December, not to 70 over 6. So we look forward to seeing her then.
Yes, a very welcome back, and Stephen having some great runners and great success, and he's kicking off, of course, trying to retain that title down in Dundalk again this year. Right, Barry, before we wrap up the show, I suppose we have to mention the Road to Cheltenham show is going really well. You'll be back again on Monday, 2 down, and we're getting a great insight. Looking forward to that this Monday again. And of course, just I suppose to remind our listeners their chance again of getting involved in winning the trip for 2 to Cheltenham next March in association with Midland Travel.
Absolutely. Just to mention again, Dave, look, fantastic interest in the competition itself. But if you are watching this on a phone device, you won't be scanning the QR code that's up on screens, but you can click the link in the podcast description. Big thank you to Stephen and all the team at Midland Travel. Just to mention as well, Dave, you did say about the Thyestes Chase tickets this week. You can save 33% on Goff's Thyestes Chase tickets just in time for Black Friday. And we look forward to January. It's only around the corner, Dave. We're in the thick of the National Hunt season, and another very special guest on the Road to Cheltenham show next Monday. Great to hear, great to catch up and listen to the views of Conor O'Dwyer on Monday's show, Dave.
Absolutely. Well, once again, we'd like to thank you for watching this latest edition of the Champ.ie Horse Racing Podcast. We hope you back plenty of winners this weekend, and Barry and I will see you this time next week.
Midland Travel are Ireland's leading provider for horse racing and sports packages. And they're off. Are you planning a trip to Cheltenham, Entry or Royal Ascot?
But it's Galopin de Shaw who's galloping his way to Gold Cup glory.
Midland Travel in Tullamore have been providing a full range of horse racing packages for over 20 years, catering for all types of budgets. If the Monaco Grand Prix is on your bucket list, or you want to finally visit the San Siro, Stephen and the team at Midland Travel can help you realise your sporting travel dreams. Midland Travel are the only company in Ireland that runs coach and ferry packages from both Manchester United and Liverpool. Midland Travel also specialise in golf tours, school tours and club training camps. Check out midlandtravel.ie or contact 057 932 6777 for more information.